Sorry, ducking the camera. Funny thing to do. Why? It seems like perspective has changed. How are you doing? Team, week, infinity, or whatever situation we're in at this point, kind of losing track of time. Trevor, we're going to be doing some still, unfortunately, quarantine style mindset workout sort of thing, like being by yourself, maybe having a person or two. You know, I know some of us are stuck with people in the house, right? Definitely going to be showing some things that you can do on your own, things that you can add with a human being. But as always, I always start out with a warm-up. I'm just going to keep my gi off for the moment. I'll throw it on my knee too. 10 side kicks, 10 forward kicks. Those hips warmed up. One of them has to pop. Oh. As wide as you can one way, as wide as you can the other. Attempt to show a couple of things that I probably haven't shown on the dummy yet. I'm trying to get creative in these trying times. I just saw that Greasy Baja, Texas opening. Dr. Leno's school. All the luck to them. Not sure what the parameters are completely. Big hugs. I'll swing my arms up to the right, trying to touch my shoulder blades. I have to do this with my palms facing forward. And I've pretty much done the same couple of things at the beginning of my video classes. It's good to have a consistent routine. I'm very consistent when it comes to those sort of things. Let's go back on our heels, on our toes. And once again, I'll probably get some good core work in, because everybody needs to get core work in, front and back work. And some other basic exercises. Got Mr. Walker looking in without a shirt on from the outside. Put a shirt on, Chuck. Maybe he'll laugh at that later. Big little twist. Once again, as always, I hope everybody's relatively happy and healthy. That's what we're trying to do right now. Keep ourselves in order. Big circles out of my head and neck, chin to the chest, ear to shoulder, forward, backwards, inside to side, as needed. So I'm gonna go big breath in, thrust my hips forward, touch those toes. Go ahead and walk out. Press your feet to the ground. Head ankles low. Keep those arms straight, legs straight. Stand it on up. And child's pose. Easy basic series of stretches. Sorry, team, I'm really low energy today. Still waking up from midday nap. I should have drank some tea. But don't worry, you'll see me moving here in a second. Once again, if you're watching the second hand, if you're trying to skip the warm-up and you don't care about it or whatever, usually about the 15-minute mark is a good place to skip to. Both legs forward. Very good. That's always good. All right, let's do some streamer. I'm gonna start with inside. Very good. Switch to outside. Sure. Sorry, I told you I was tired. I switched again without saying, switch to the outside. Mostly for my benefit. All right, let's do some series of bridges. Center, left, and right. So center, I'll tuck my chin in my chest because I don't want my head to hit the ground. Because you can definitely knock yourself out pretty good if you're launching your head to the ground. And then once again, looking to one side, looking to the other side. And it's kind of just going to be as needed. All right, still thinking core minded. We're doing the reverse core on this. We get some cat and cow stretches in. Breath in, exhale out, and hold your breath. And then exhale, let's go some pointer dart. All right, taking this at the timer, some workouts. Crush it. All right, team, it's just that 1 minute timer. Set for squats. I'm going. On my toes as well. Halfway through. A couple seconds there. Down for our push-up. Up for our parachutes. Got 1 whole minute. This on my big deep breath version. Big breath in. Exhale out as you push it up. Ribs out of the way. Almost done. Looking over the backside. I think it's a decent series of core work going here. Still with side motions here. Opposite elbow, opposite knee. A whole minute. About halfway through. Switching sides on this. Get some bonus time, because why not? That was a lot of bonus time. Should be concentrating on breathing. And that's basically done on that. All right, let's get some lower going. I was killing my upper pretty good. Little hands under the butt, straight legs. I think I'm going to separate both of these out for the full minutes here. So, minute of scissor kicks on this. Basically, just going to zone out. Almost done, almost done, almost done, almost done. Last one legless. I'm definitely taking my rest on this. Hit them if they're hurting. Halfway through. All right. That's going to be a warm up for now. Just going to get some things in order. Turn that timer on to 15 minutes. Perfect. quick moment. Water right near the mic. All right, team. Definitely getting close to running out of slow material there. I had a couple of extra things pop into my brain. Some stuff that was already there at the beginning, but I didn't really didn't want to use it quite yet. Well, that's a little bit tricky, also depending on how much space you have, and maybe your apartment or your garage, or whatever the situation is. But I think I want to end up talking about this. So if anybody's trained with me, they know I love making people fly in the air. It's one of my favorite things to do, being somebody who's only about 140 pounds, make grown men over 200 pounds just fly in the air, make them seem light. Okay. So I say fly, but there's a better word for it. It's called confusion. Confusion just means off balance in judo, or Japanese word for off balance. Okay. And there's probably another translation for it that I'm not the best at. Okay. So essentially what I'm going to practice is the Tomonagi setup. Okay. Tomonagi is a very common move. Oh, that other just killed me. A very common move that you'd see like in like action movies and all kinds of other situations. Okay. And I'm a big fan of the Tomonagi, especially if you're a guard puller. Just having the basics of how to pull guard are essentially around the same steps as the Tomonagi, right? So if you're pulling guard, right, a basic step would be just a forward step and throwing your foot up to the hip. I'm not going to quite do that right now, but ideally, if you're going to be hitting this move, I want to be trying to step deeper. Okay? And just because of the way the dummy is and the way it's structured, I can't step as deep as I want to. And I'm only going to step as deep as I need to, depending on my height and the situation I have here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as I step deep, I'm going to make sure I throw my foot up. I don't want to just sit down and pull anything on top of it. I don't want to even demonstrate because I want to stay standing on it. Okay, I'll show you what to do right as opposed to what to do wrong. But there's always common tendencies, whatever move it is, whatever move I've ever taught or I've seen instructors teach, there's always some situation where people are doing X amount of things wrong. And it's usually across the board for certain people. Like most people will be making the same mistake. I think it has something to do with the way our brain's wired and evolution and a bunch of other things. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So I have the arm. Sometimes I'm thinking about the collar, maybe a single collar tie. Whatever the situation is, just get a hold of your dummy or your uke, whoever it is. Okay, and I'm going to be stepping to the center, but kind of more off to one side. Okay, as opposed to being right in the middle. That might be better for Uchimata and that sort of thing, because I don't want him to tilt off to one side. I want to try to be kind of more neutral. It happens to me a lot when I don't have this step right. They'll fly in the air, but they'll tend to fall off to the side where I would want them to. I want to take my opponent where they wouldn't want to go. And I'm going to kind of show a bunch of different scenarios with this. And maybe it was the reverse. That'll be fine. So let's go ahead and go for both feet on the hips and make the dummy fly. The dummy weighs maybe around 75 pounds, so it's going to feel a lot easier to make, or my dummy in this case, is very easy to make it fly. I don't know what kind of dummy everybody has. I've seen a lot of the same sort of combat sport dummies going around. You can do it with a lot of different scenarios. I'll show you a couple of it. Let me just go show you what I'm talking about. Step, foot, and I'm going to drop. Okay, I want to get low, so I'm going to start to get low. Put my foot tight, and I have both feet connected at this point, right? So at this point, it'd be hard for me to lift my dummy or my opponent, because if I was trying to lift them up, I would end up pushing them away. This is because of the direction of my feet. This is okay, but I want to bring my knees past my hip line and make my opponent fly in that case. And the way that works is because the center of gravity of the dummy is connected to my feet. Okay, I need that connected, or I need that over my hip line. Okay, as soon as I get my feet or my knees over my hip line, when they go over my hip line, my feet will be over my hip line. When I get to that point, I should be able to make my opponent fly at this point. Okay, I've done this to a lot of people, and the dummy doesn't feel like it's completely balanced, but with most humans there is. With most humans, there's a balance, and obviously he's lost weight over the years with arms and entrails going out, right? So there's a lot of things that you can practice once you've got the dummy up in the air.
So sometimes I like to look at people in the air, right? It's actually not a good thing to do because you should have an intention either to sweep them or to arm lock them, okay? Like as you're launching them up, okay? So I'm either having in this mind, I'm gonna look one way or the other way. I can take the dummy over my shoulder, or I might be able to explain how to do this more kind of like a complicated like helicopter arm lock here, okay? So maybe that'll be the first thing that I'll describe here. Actually, no, let's move backwards. Go back up. And that was not as graceful as it was in my head. So again, dead weight is dead weight, unfortunately, and I'm hoping that I'm not throwing the dummy too far up in the air. So step, foot down, feet up, and I've made him fly, okay? And usually, like I said, I'll hold him here for a minute or two. The worst thing to do is let him just plop down into your guard, like into a neutral guard, right? Better things to do, take them one way or the other. That's why I'm basically just controlling both arms. And it's very imperative for you to be nice about this and not expose their head to the ground and then think that you're gonna roll them over their shoulder. So you want to keep them neutral. You're looking right at them, right? And I'm gonna take one arm and the other. I'll look one way or the other way. Just trying to check the camera. So I think I'll go this direction, look this direction, and I back roll on top. So I say it a lot. I know maybe saying Matt right now, just switch some time out. If you know a forward roll and a back roll, you know more moves than you think. Not just to execute the move from an offensive perspective, but to be a good defensive partner or a good uke, or just to keep yourself safe just in general. It's very, very important to know how to move your body. Okay, so I'm gonna probably show that one a couple times from some different angles. Probably quite around the same. I can't really throw this into the camera. Here we go. Maybe thinking collar tie. Maybe thinking here. I'm gonna move over here. Step over here. Bring my opponent up. And general roll with your knees. You want your knees about as wide as your opponent's shoulders or their hips. Okay. They're usually around the same, depending on if you're female or not. So I'm gonna choose which side I want to go. Because of the way the camera is, I'll look this way now. Take them over and head up on top. There's a couple of different ways you can execute that one. You can keep your feet on the hips and take them over kind of how I did. Or as they're going over, you can shoot your hooks off. It makes it a little bit easier to shoot up for the mouth. But it's a little bit different with the dummy. Things end up always being a little bit different with dead weight. So just noting that. Let's work out in itself. Bring it back up. Again, with my boy Fly. I've been doing this with him for a while. Well, this is a little bit of a telegraph. Sometimes my old judo instructor would teach how to wind this leg up back and forth. Bring both up, right? So let's talk about what else we can do from here, okay? So to make it a good workout too, if you have a dummy, you can practice this too, right? You can keep the arms, right? It's a little bit difficult to do this without the arms, but this is a decent workout, right? But you're visualizing, once again, I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse for this, is you're imagining that the hips are directly under my hips. His center of gravity in their hips is directly under my power source, which is my hips, okay? So we just got to remember that order of things with our body, right? Well, it's obviously, what am I doing internally too? That might be a whole other conversation in itself, but it's like, what is my core doing? That's, it's an internal thing too, for sure. What are my legs doing? What are my arms doing? Okay, so see, even without my arms, with what my legs are doing and what my core are doing, I'm still good. But if I lost everything somehow and I just had my arms in this mix, this would be horrible. Okay, so because I want to expose this arm, I'm going to kick off my left leg. And just like with that little workout thing, this is actually going to be kind of important because as I'm falling down, I'm thinking about launching my opponent or whoever it is up in the air to get some hang time on this. Not that it's impossible that you can't hit it by just dropping them into the armbar, but I like kind of launching my opponent a little bit. Not so much that you're going to flip them over, right? But just enough that I'm going to be tilting them, okay? Lifting and tilting, okay? Launching and tilting is more important here. So I'm going to throw it up. It's kind of hard to do this slow, very difficult to do slow, okay? I want to keep them in a certain position here. If the head starts to go too much over my head, his body's going to fall too much on me. So once again, imagine hips under hips, launch up, and I'm going to catch for an arm lock here. And this is a great drill, and I really like doing this with the dummy because the dummy can't complain and there's just no risk of anybody getting hurt on that. I'm certainly going to do this from a bunch of different angles. I think now I can finally face the camera because I'm not doing an overhead sweep. It'll be very important. This move. Go down, same setup. We'll launch them up. See, that's the moment I would do it. Right? I'm just going to sit here and talk for a second. So, falling, launching up. So I'm going to kick off one leg, and you see how I'm using everything I have. I'm using right side to tilt one side. I'm using this side to pull in, and I'm also kicking off my foot because essentially I'm blocking him from turning if I keep my foot there. I want this side of my opponent's body to tilt and fall down. Okay, but falling down a certain way that they're not falling on my head, right? I'm going to be catching them with my thigh, with my leg. Okay, so launching up, do everything, tilt, catch the leg, and from that angle, everybody probably saw that really. And depending on how you're feeling about it, you can cross your feet. I know you can't see and be thinking about the arm lock at this point. Sometimes they'll just use that as a sweep and just end up on top. A couple more times. This angle again. No, maybe do the other one. Step. Launch. Leg over the head. We're doing more one motion now. So talking. Another angle. Come on, okay. Stay standing. Very, very hard to train jiu-jitsu on our own, but as you see, I can kind of get some high-level technique going on here. Kind of, have the technique and have the means and the tool done. Launch. And finish. And once again, obviously, you have your options for sweep. Just going to go ahead and do another one. Step, feet, go, launch. Flip your opponent. All right, team. So, like I said, I'm not really scraping the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. There's just some things that I left out. So, I know I've shown some side control escapes using the post. Well, I know one thing that a lot of us probably don't miss, but you're going to miss as a result is getting smashed, right? I'm sure everybody wants to get back on the mat and roll and tap people out, right? But nobody really misses getting smashed. And maybe you do. Maybe you like getting squeezed or whatever the situation is, right? Some people are weird like that. But I want to show how to escape using the dummy back to guard, and also using some hooks and some basic styles of sweeps, because Gubby would say, and it makes sense, and it makes sense in all senses of it, that even when somebody doesn't react, that's a reaction. So if somebody was side controlling you and just laying on you, like you're going to see the dummy doing, that's still a reaction. Like some people are in the mind that they didn't realize that they're no longer in side control, or they're not in a position where they should be sprawling over them. Obviously, i.e. like the close guard. But so if somebody does that, that's still something that you have to deal with. Imagine somebody like super big, or just a big guy, not necessarily fat, but just a big guy and is like laying on you. We have to be able to deal with that, right? Especially from a closed guard position. If you don't know what to do and somebody's broken their posture down and trying to hold you down, this becomes very irritating. I know we're all taught posture from a very early young age here, or young jiu-jitsu career here, but there's some people that don't care about that. There's some people that if they're big, they're burly, they know how to nullify. There's some people that play like anti-jiu-jitsu, and that's also an aspect of the game. It's frustrating, but that's also an aspect. So I have this dead weight over me on side control, and I'm just going to kind of show some basic situations there. So I'm just going to describe stuff without the dummy because it's going to be a lot easier. So what I'm imagining is that my opponent has mismanaged my hip space. Okay, the dummy obviously isn't going to be blocking nothing or anything, or however you want to think about it. I'm not going to be blocking my hips, not going to be blocking anything. So that means that the guard is going to be exposed. So the dummy will be on this side, or wherever side I'm going to figure out is going to be a better situation. Probably my feet facing everybody here. So I'm going to go toes and knees facing my opponent here. Okay, and as I tilt, you're going to see how the dummy is going to have trouble staying balanced. I might cascade to one side or the other, depending on how well I balance it on top of me. I'm going to keep the dummy between my arms because it's always good to keep your opponent in between your arms. And I'm just keep my legs and wrap my legs around the dummy. Okay. Not really too much more to it, but trying to get back to thinking about being in a bad position. Whoa, this guy's heavy. Do this for. Let's see how that looks over there. So move. This looks okay. So the dummy is chest over chest. He's pretty heavy, right? So I can use this near side arm, near side wrist, not necessarily my hand, to block the hip here, right? Now this arm is in a good position, so I can go under, right? Or just keep your hands just somewhere where it's not necessarily in too much danger, right? And you have to feel what is your opponent doing with their arm. I know I'm kind of talking about things that are pretty irrelevant to the dummy. We're just talking about just things in general. So see how the dummy is not blocking anything. This is great for me, okay? So this one I can just launch and just bring my opponent into the guard. And actually, this doesn't feel like the worst drill in the world, right? See, that's how heavy he was. Hey, he's heavy enough. He's heavy. There we go. Normally, we're not talking when we're in these scenarios. We'll never really be vocalizing, like going, we're in that. I tell people that all the time. Like, it's your problem, right? Don't let them know that they're doing good, right? Don't let somebody know that you're irritating them, because then they're going to know they're going to be able to push you a little bit further. Okay, might be some advice in life too. So because it's on my left side here, I use my left leg, toes, knees, facing that position there. Because if I was just doing that one little thing wrong, right? And I'm pretty sure this week we're going to be talking about side control with Gumby on Tuesday, Thursday. My toes and my knees are facing up, kicking my opponent. And we were talking about the hip escape last week, so this detail is still there. The toes and knees facing, right? And I'm being kind of lazy, not turning as much sideways as I could. My hips are really flexible, so I really can kind of get away with just tilting my hips and bringing my legs in, right? But if you want to make your opponent really inaccurate, definitely want to turn sideways. So making sure that dummy stays chest over chest. Center line over center line. Down, underhook, one leg up, one leg down. Tilt. Now I feel like I've alleviated some pressure. This is really good for me. I move my leg inside, and I only did one motion on that, and I was able to get straight to the close guard. Just gonna do this a couple more times, and I'm gonna kind of show everybody whoever's watching this secondhand or during, do some butterfly buck sweeps. All right, gotta push those words out. One leg up, one leg down, tilt, making myself a peak. I feel like his weight's more on my shoulder as opposed to my chest. This feels a lot better than before. I can actually breathe. Bring my leg in, and now have my dummy. Okay. And obviously, there's things that we can practice attack-wise. There's close guard, arm locks, and stuff like that. Triangles are a little bit wonky on these dummies, right? So when I want to practice, and obviously you can kind of practice maybe wrestling a little bit too, but I wanted to show kind of how I would like to deal with this scenario here. If somebody's just laying on you, and you know, it could be a bad thing, but if I caught him here too, I'd actually prefer if my opponent was laying on me, I keep them tight, right? But I threw my legs into a good position at this point, right? Imagining maybe I was even in a half guard, even from this, the same position here. He's tight, right? I got my legs in. Now I'll keep them tight, right? I don't want him to go away unless I screw that up strategically, or I'm lazy and I'm tired of those scenarios. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our hooks, right? So I don't know if everybody remembers back when we used to train back in the day, or like when you didn't know what you were doing, like people would like to use like these grapevine hooks from guard, right? Not that that's completely worthless, but just really, really goofy. I really wish I would have started using hooks back then as opposed to these inside hooks. Even though we had those concepts with hooks in our DNA or whatever the situation is or everything wherever we're doing, but it's just not quite the right place here. We go here, and here. Gumby's a big fan of just playing one hook in, one hook out, and that's legit. Sometimes you can use both hooks. The beauty of both hooks is I might be in a scenario to relift my opponent, make that full circle, and that's actually what I'm going to do. Is I want to be able to lift my opponent all the way back to a flying position. Okay, but let's talk about what we can do from here, practice-wise. Okay, so because my left leg is on the out right here and the right leg is in, I'm gonna sweep my opponent to the left here. Because he's laying on me, there's a couple things that I can do with this. I can use my pendulum motion, which is gonna wind up my hook, right? My hook should be flexed on the thigh, and it should be able to kazushi them, bring them over my center line again. Okay, if they're far away, this is good for my opponent, right? If I bring them in, this is better for me. Right? Have somebody looking through the window, so I'm distracted for a second. So I would be usually a big fan of keeping this hook tied on the leg here, but these days I've seen the value of lifting this leg up and creating momentum, right? Once again, I used to be a big fan of holding this hook. There are reasons to have this hook, but because I'm trying to have as many tools utilized by my body for my goal, right? As much as my body going towards my goal, so I'm using the pendulum to bring it over, right? And you saw him, the feet got lifted up off the ground. So right now I'm just controlling the collar tie and the arm, right? Dummy likes to put his head on this side just because of the way the dummy is right now. I'm just going to put my head on the same side that I'm sweeping my opponent here. Okay, bring my leg in, right? And I'm going to chop through, end up on top. Depending on what you want to practice, I really recommend just going straight to your arm lock. I'm a huge fan of these little, like baby butterfly sweeps. Not really baby butterfly, but just butterfly sweeps in general, these in between positions. When people are willing to get close to you and engage with you. Might even be able to just do this from side control. It's the beauty of that. So making connection, right? The beginning point was things were going wrong. But there's another thing that I was like, I'm just gonna put the dummy off my chest when I'm talking. You're never in a bad position. You're just a transition away from a good position. Say that to yourself and remember that to yourself when you're in a bad position. Okay, there's something that you could be doing to make it better for you. And even getting or catching your opponent, depending on how good your escapes are and how much you can see past the position that you're in, if that makes any sense. So once again, you're never in a bad position. You're just a transition away from a good position. And this is so true if you just know the right technique. Okay. Anyway, chest over chest. Dummy's in my way. I'm gonna tilt a little bit, maybe get my underhook depending on the scenario. I'm gonna bring my legs in, but right now I'm thinking swoop. Okay, clamping over here. I got my underhook right now, right? I'm gonna bring them in, and I'm gonna take it over. You see at the last second to chop, and also I can practice my arm. Try to go both sides of this, just so you can see some different angles. Depending on what's going on, looks like the camera's doing pretty good for me. Underhook, one leg up, one leg down, tilt, bring my leg in. And we might be stuck here. That's kind of why I like addressing this hook position here, right? They might be trying to step over that, right? But at the same time, I bring them over. And once again, depending on what we want to do, stabilize your position. There's only so much that I can do with the flat body. You can dismount, right? Knee on belly, do what you want. Or don't dismount. Stick your mount. Over. I'm just trying to think about some other angles that I can do. I'll just move along just nicely. Just gonna switch a couple angles of this. All right, let's go over here. There we go. Get over here. Oil check. Side control. Arm being hidden however I can. The little nub, right? Both my legs are up at the moment, but because he's on my left side, left leg should be down. Just have this little bit of a block. Protect your fingers. Keep everything tight. You know, sometimes we're here, but believe me, you've got to protect your fingers. Anyway, bringing my leg in. Sometimes I'm stuck here, right? In, take it over, and look at the other side. We are. Depending on the scenario, sometimes I'll keep my arm on the neck. Here, in. Take them over. All right. So the last thing I'm going to show right now is a drill we can do with this dummy, and obviously with a human too. I certainly prefer to do this situation from a sit-up guard, if that makes any sense, right? I want to initiate it more from a seating guard. But you could, depending on your opponent's size, you might be able to make them fly with both feet on the hips from that double butterfly hook situation. Okay, like what the heck is this stuff? Anyway, I'm gonna grab my dummy, and I'm gonna control both hooks here. Okay, both butterfly hooks, both under near the hip, using my jujitsu hooks, not ballerina feet, jujitsu hooks bent, and now we're here, right? So they might be low in a way. That's okay. I can feel that my feet are well outside of my hip line right now. So even without the dummy right now. See how my feet are well outside of my hip line. Okay. What does that mean? Just like my feet being here, feet directly over my hip line. That's where I can make somebody fly. If my hooks are way over there, this is going to be a big problem. Okay. So what I can do, this is a solo motion you can practice too. The exact motion we would do if you had a partner in class. Coordinating everything. Once again, legs, core, legs, arm in that order, right? Legs, core, arm. Now showing this very dramatic motion recently in, when I saw it from one of my private students here. Okay, the hands pulling to the armpits. Okay, this is a really important motion for a lot of different things. Okay, pull all the way to your armpits, flare your own elbows, and pull to your armpits. Okay, so I'm doing all of these things together. Okay, my legs and my arms move together. Not just trying to move my arms, not trying to just move my leg. Legs and arms together. Legs and arms together. Okay, now that I've gotten that out of the way, here we go. Same old thing. Okay, so right now, just because of what I'm going to do, I'm going to be under, just to be able to lift a little bit easier. The situations are certainly different when we have a real human body with elbows and all that, right? Just kind of bear with me on this. So I'm going to bring my knees in and watch. I'm going to launch my opponent up. I'm going to launch both of them, or one hook up more than the other, and I want to catch my opponent's hip before it would fall. So I'm going to launch them up, 1, 2, and now I have it. Okay, do that again. I would never reverse and do it like that, but I just did. So here we are. I'm gonna pull my opponent in, knees over my hip line, straighten one leg up, other foot up, and here we are. I'm gonna do different angles. I can feel my feet on the ground. My feet are on the ground, they're not over my hip line. My feet are over my hip line, it's gonna be hard for me to lift my opponent. Can't lift my opponent, probably gonna pass. So what should I do? I should make them fly. Use everything I got. One leg, other leg, make them fly. And practice the last. So as you see, I've made a full circle sequence at this point. Some of my favorite moves to do. And actually, you can put all of these things together, team. So remember what I was saying? You're not in a bad position. You're just in a transition or so away from a good position. In this case, I did a lot of things, right? But throughout every stage that I'm going to show right now, I could have launched a submission. I could have did some other sort of sweep. My opponent could have exposed something that I didn't see coming, but I have to launch it. Okay, so let's see this whole sequence. Wow, how can you do that? Well, I can do it. Here we go. Right now, I'm just going to go to both butterfly hooks right away. Make it go. Make them fly. Tilt. And finish. I'm just going to do that a couple times because that felt good. And it was a little goofy, that's okay. I felt the weight going a little bit strange. Get over here, dude. Whatever, pull somebody on top of you, so I can control. This is what it is. Here we are. Bring my legs in, one leg, other leg, pull them up. All right. Got my hands in a good position now. Leg over and finish. All right, team. Just gonna cool myself down. That was a fairly decent way to get through the class. Definitely something I haven't shown yet. Definitely been seeing the views go down a little bit, but we're definitely gonna figure out a situation where we make it more appealing for people to watch the content. It doesn't necessarily have to be on schedule. I know most people watch this more secondhand, and we're not being very interactive necessarily with Zoom and or like talking to people here and there, but it's very difficult to coach through video, right? I don't know the Gracie brothers have been promoting online. They're ahead of the curve, so they knew better than us. Anyway, arms up, thrusting our hips forward, meditating and hoping on the day that we all get to come back and beat each other up. Once again, walking on out again. Make sure everything's in order. The right leg in the center. I don't normally do this one, just trying to change it up a little bit. Can't see I'm bending my leg in front of me. Anybody comes for the warm up or the cool down necessarily. If you follow along, awesome, great. Touch legs. What do you say to people that don't follow along are not awesome or great? I guess I did. All right, so back over our knees, lean backwards. Little arm across my chest. Get some muscle groups that I forgot about. Freaking hair, a haircut. Save me. Switch. Arm over the head. Switch. All right, team. Like I was saying, I'm going to be more than likely doing side control stuff with Gumby on Tuesday, Thursday. I'm going to be continuing with my pressure defense series Tuesday, Thursday at 4. This week is more about the preemptive defense, what to do before somebody stacks you, and that could be a multitude of different answers to that. I'm just going to kind of show some things that I prefer to do. It's a big part of my game these days. Obviously, Mr. Charles Walker Beer getting choked and beat up and submitted, all that good stuff. I think I've rambled on for as long as I think I can today. Once again, team, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and all the like and subscribes that we see. Mostly the subscribes, not necessarily the likes. Any comments are always needed, always appreciated. Yeah. Everybody have a good week. Hopefully the shelter in place phase 2 thing will happen sooner than later. You know, a lot of the businesses are kind of already phase 2 and have been, whatever the heck any of these phases mean. Anyway, I don't want to get all political and talk about anything right now. See you guys tomorrow.